Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth once again, and we've got what I would probably describe as almost a creepy adventure ahead of us. Now, we'll take a look at the puzzle in a second, but the name itself just almost inspired, it's almost as if we're adventuring through a large cavern. We came across this mysterious cage, and you can sort of hear some whispers coming from it. And that's kind of what you've got here in the thumbnail. I don't know if you get the same vibe from the name of the puzzle, which we'll take a look at in a second, but that's certainly sort of what I've walked away with. But regardless, our responsibility is just to pull back that veil of mystery, get rid of the whispers, and figure out what we actually need to be producing today. So let's take a look at the puzzle. We've got Some Cagey Whispers by GDC. Now we've featured, I'm going to say, multiple puzzles by GDC at this point. And they're always absolutely phenomenal. They're always immensely enjoyable. And, it requires a little bit of logic, but generally speaking, fairly approachable, at least when he aims for creating something along that line. Now, let's take a look at what we have in terms of rule sets today. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Now, this is a 6x6 grid, so I'm going to assume that means we need to place the digits 1 to 6 in every row, every column, and you can see every 3x2 box that we have here. Digits in a cage cannot repeat. And you can see with these dashed lines that there is quite a large number of cages actually that we have here. What's that? 3, another 3, and another 2. So that was 8 cages in total. And within them, we're not allowed to repeat numbers. So if we put, well, let me try and pick a different one. If we put 1 in here, although normally under normal Sudoku rules, we'd be able to put a 1 in either of these two cells, but not today under today's rule set. Now here's the interesting bit that should actually allow us to solve it. If two cages touch, and I'm going to interpret this as orthogonally touching, I don't think that actually matters. There isn't really any cages where they're diagonally touching only, is there? Yeah. Anyway, when they do touch, their sums will differ by 5 or more. So if this sums up to, let's say, 9, I don't know how to do that. Let's go with 4 and 5. That means that this has to be, well, because it's only digits 1 to 6, 4 or less. As in 9, take away 5. So this is 4 or less. It says that sums differ by 5 or more. So it's not exactly 5. It could be more than 5. And then lastly, we have cells separated by an inequality, abide by it. And we've got 2 of those. So you can see an inequality that's essentially saying this cell is greater than that. Kind of convenient that this is the way I happen to pencil mark it. And this cell, whatever it may be, is greater than that. And supposedly with just a handful of cages, well, 2 handfuls of cages, and these relatively simple rules, we should be able to solve today's puzzle with 0 digits in the grid. Now, if you want to play along, if you want to venture through that cavern, unveil that mystery, get rid of these whispers, link will be in the description down below. And with that said, let me restart the clock and see how we get on. So I'm going to start using some colors so that I can actually explain what I'm talking about. Let's go with red. Let's go with orange. So 5 cell cages, which means they're missing only 1 digit from the digits 1 to 6. Now, they could be missing any one of them, but to be 5 apart, since they're touching, as you can see in multiple places, I think one of them has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would add up to 15. And then the second one, I think, would have to be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which triangular number for 6 is 21, but we're not including the 1, so it's 20. So if you can already see that's kind of along the right lines, because the maximum we can make is 20. The minimum we can make is 15. I don't know necessarily which way it is, but whichever way it is, one has to have 20, the other one has to have 15. There's a lot of symmetry with the exception of this cage here. And I strongly suspect this is what's going to help us determine which is the 20 and which is the 15. Let's take a look at the top here. So minimum we can make 4 digits add up to is 10, which I'm going to keep sort of a running track here, 20, because we've got the same 4 digits here and the 4 digits there. So I've already used, let's go with green and yellow. And whichever one is next to the 15, we're already at the maximum. If we put 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to get to 10. There is a little bit more leeway with whichever one is next to the 20, in that it can be as high as 15, but I don't even think we can get to 15. 3, 4, 5, and 6, that's 7 plus 11. Oh, we can go pretty high. We can 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, and 7. Yeah, that's 18. So we can certainly get to 15, but no, we can only go to 15. So it's between 10 and 15. I don't know how I'm going to pencil mark this, but I'm just going to go with 15 for now, because it's between 10 and 15. All of that is allowed. Now here's the interesting bit. Here is the interesting bit. I'm going to go with blue and purple. And 15, 10 away, let's say this is the 15, puts us at 10, and then the purple will put us at 5. Now if I tried to do the same with the 10, as in if this happened to be 10, this would have to be a maximum of 5, totally achievable, but then this would be 0. So I think, as I suspected, that this was placed there to tell us which one is the 20 and which one is the 15. And therefore this means this is from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's a terrible way of pencil marking this. And this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Actually, more interesting is this one is 1, 2, 3, and 4, meaning this has to be a 5. None of these are 5 anymore. And this is the 6. We've got digits, although almost at 4 minutes in. And now this is, because this is 10, this is 5 or lower. So this is 3, 4, or 5, which almost all of them. So if this is 5, it'll be 1, it'll be 2 and 3, or 1 and 4. And remember, because of this greater than symbol, we know the order of this. The other option, of course, is it could be a 3, so that could have been 1 and 2, or it could be a 4, which would be 1 and 3. So fairly likely that there is a 1 in here. And I think then we're kind of done with this one. Let's take a look in here. So we've got 20. We've got, so tempted to say maximum of 15 in here. Problem is it could be lower, couldn't it? 15, 10, 5. And of course this could be as low as 1. But let's lose all the 5s in here for a second. We need to have the 6 in here, because we don't have an option for it in the orange. So these are not 6 either. That's 2, 3, or 4. Which means there is a 6 somewhere in here. 6 is not there. 6 cannot be here, because what other digit would be greater than 6? So the 6 is in one of 2 cells in the yellow. And I said, what was it? This could be 5. No, this was 15. This was 10. And this could be 5. So 5 can actually be in the purple or in the yellow. It couldn't be in here because that would make it 5 and 6. That would be 11, which would exceed the 10 maximum that we've imposed on the blue cage. But there's still 3 positions, unfortunately, for the 5. Actually, we do know another digit. Where does 6 go in this bottom box? That's the 6. That's the 6. This is not 6. This is, though. There we go. We've got a 6 somewhere in here. Actually, what is the maximum this one can be? That's 10. That's 15. That's 15. I'm tempted to say this has to be a 5. Because we've got 20. We've got 15. 2 15s, in fact. And we've got a 10, all of which are touching this one. So I think this has to be a 5. And therefore it's 1 or 4 or 2 or 3. Forcing a 5 and 6 up here. 6, 5. That now, notice this 5 means there is no 5 in here. There's no 5 in there. 5 in there would be too much because it would be an 11. That's got to be 5. That's got to be 4 because it's got to be 5 away from this one. Now, none of these are 4. There's only one place for a 5 now left. That's got to be in there. We're definitely making progress. 5 and 6 in here. You've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 pencil mark. That's a 6. That's a 5. Let me lose these now. We still need to determine whether, because that's a 10. This could be as low as 15, we said, or as high as, oh wow, actually, because that's a 10, that's got to be as high as 15, a minimum of 15. And because this is 20, it is exactly 15. So we've already placed 5 and 6 in here, which gets us to 11. We need to get 4 more, which can only be 1 and 3. That's not 3, that's a 2, 4. Actually, there are no 4s in there. That's a 2, therefore that's a 3, a 1, a 3, a 4. 5's got to be in there. What else do I need to place in here? These are 1 and 2. We've placed everything except the 4 in the red cage. We've placed 4, 5, and 6 in here. So no 4s in the orange in this side. That's got to be the 4. That tells us, doesn't actually tell us anything. Because we said this could be as little as 3 and as high as 5. So actually it doesn't tell us anything, shockingly enough. None, that's not a 4, that's 1, 2, and 3. In fact, there has to be a 3 in there, so there's no 3. There is a 4, though. This could have been lower than 5, couldn't it? Yeah, it can be lower than 5, but can it actually really with this in place? Let's think about this. So if it's lower than 5, we would use up the 1. Yes, because if we get to 3 or 4, we have to use the 1. That wouldn't be a 1. So it'll be 2, 4, or with 2, 3. I'm guessing 1, 2, or 1, 3. No problems with any of that, really, is there? Actually, here you go. That has to be a 4. And therefore this has to be a 1, because the maximum this could have been is a 5, since this is a 10. So that's a 2, that's a 3. These are not 2 anymore. 1, 3 here says this has to be a 2. That's not a 2. That's got to be a 4 now. That's 1 or 2. That's a 2. That's a 1, 2. We need a 3, which can only be in here. A 1, which can only be in there. This is a 3, 1. Because of this one. 3, 1. And if I've not made any mistakes, 2. And we're finished. It's a beautiful puzzle. I mean, it's fairly straightforward. I think certainly by comparison to other puzzles that we have featured on this channel. But, beautiful puzzle with a huge amount of symmetry that you just need to spot. So as soon as you figure out that these have to be maximum and minimum, and then you get on to really just spotting the difference, you can immediately determine that's a 20, that's a 15. And I think after that, everything pretty much falls into place. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's puzzle. Relatively short one today, but as always, I don't necessarily know if it was short until you guys leave some comments on how you got on, which please do, because I always immensely enjoy reading them. And bye for now. See you for the next video.